Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. This story is heating up in a way that could really shake the NFC South. And if you're a Falcons supporter, you definitely want to pay close attention because this could mean a lot for what's coming next season. Recently, there's been some buzz about a player who, until very recently, was considered one of the most promising defensive tackles in the league. That player is Christian Wilkins, and the news surrounding him could change the landscape of the Falcons' defensive line. And honestly, it might just be the move that pushes Atlanta further toward the Super Bowl aspirations they've been chasing for years. So, what's the scoop? Well, it all started with the surprising decision by the Las Vegas Raiders to release Christian Wilkins. That's right. After just one season with the Raiders, Wilkins found himself suddenly ousted from the team, which left many people around the NFL scratching their heads. Wilkins, who signed a hefty 4-year deal worth $110 million with a guaranteed $5 million, was supposed to be a cornerstone of that Raiders defensive line. But instead, his departure shocked many. Why? Because the Raiders management and Wilkins apparently had differing perspectives on his recovery from a foot injury. And that's really the key point here: injuries. Wilkins struggled with injuries during the 2024 season, which limited him to just 5 games. When he was on the field, though, he made an impact. In those limited appearances, he registered 17 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. That's a solid contribution, especially considering the injuries. But the injury itself was a foot issue that apparently didn't fully heal, and that seems to have caused some friction between Wilkins and the Raiders. It's not uncommon in the NFL for injuries to become a sticking point in contracts and team-player relationships, but what's interesting here is the fact that Wilkins is now a free agent, and the NFL landscape is buzzing with speculation about where he could land. Teams are definitely interested. Wilkins is a talent that many defensive coordinators would love to have, especially given his performance in his final year with the Miami Dolphins, where he posted 65 tackles and 9 sacks. That year really put him on the map as a dominant interior force, and it's part of what earned him that lucrative deal with the Raiders. But of course, the injury concern remains. Because he's still recovering from that foot injury, any team that signs him will need to be willing to accept some risk. Still, teams are always willing to take chances on talent, especially when that talent can potentially transform a defensive front into a real strength. Now, here's a crucial part of this story. Wilkins' recent history shows that he's capable of being a game-changer. His breakout year in 2023 with the Dolphins, where he recorded 9 sacks, speaks volumes about his potential when healthy. That kind of production, coupled with his size, strength, and skill set, makes him an intriguing option for any team looking to upgrade their defensive line. And for the Falcons, this could be an opportunity that's too good to pass up. Remember, Atlanta has been investing heavily in improving their defense over the past couple of seasons. They've brought in solid players, but adding a player like Wilkins could be the finishing touch that elevates the entire unit. And let's talk about what Wilkins could bring specifically to Atlanta. The Falcons need interior defensive line help. More than anything, they need a presence that can clog running lanes, pressure the quarterback, and create disruption in the middle of the field. Wilkins, with his explosiveness and pass-rushing ability, could do exactly that. Even if he isn't ready to start the season, he could be a valuable piece to have down the stretch, especially in crucial playoff moments. His ability to shift the dynamics of the defense could be the difference-maker in tight games, and that's exactly what the Falcons need if they're serious about competing at the highest level. It's worth noting that the Falcons had shown interest in Wilkins even before he signed with the Raiders last offseason. Reports indicated that Atlanta was very keen on bringing him in, but ultimately, the Raiders offered a higher bid, and Wilkins chose to sign with Las Vegas. Now, with him being released, the door is wide open. the Falcons could revisit that interest and make a move. It's a smart strategic decision, especially considering their recent defensive struggles. Adding Wilkins would not only boost their depth, but it would also send a message to the NFC South that Atlanta is serious about contending. Imagine a defensive line anchored by Grady Jarrett and Christian Wilkins. That's a formidable duo. Wilkins' presence would create more opportunities for players like Arnold Ebiketie and the rest of the pass rushers. It would also help the Falcons become more versatile against both the run and the pass. And given how much Atlanta has invested in their offense, especially with their young quarterbacks and talented receivers, bolstering the defense with a player like Wilkins makes perfect sense. It's all about balancing the team and creating a well-rounded roster that can handle the demands of a tough NFC South division with teams like the Buccaneers, Saints, and Panthers all vying for supremacy. But of course, nothing is set in stone yet. Wilkins' foot injury still raises questions, and teams will need to evaluate whether he's fully healthy or if he's going to need some time to get back to his best. The Falcons will likely do their due diligence, running medical evaluations and assessments before making any formal move. Still, the fact that they were interested last offseason shows that they see the potential in Wilkins and believe he could be a fit for their defensive scheme. And honestly, the timing might be perfect. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and sometimes the best deals happen when you least expect them. Now, let's look a little more into the bigger picture. The Falcons are clearly in a building phase. They want to establish a dominant defense that can carry them deep into the playoffs. Their recent draft picks, offseason signings, and coaching strategies all point towards that goal. Adding Wilkins to this mix would be a statement move, showing that Atlanta is committed to winning now and building a defense capable of intimidating opponents. Plus, the division rivalries in the NFC South are fierce, and having a stronger interior line could be the key to shutting down high-powered offenses like Tampa Bay or New Orleans. And what about the fans? Well, I know that many Falcons supporters are eager for their team to make bold moves this offseason. They want to see their team return to the postseason, and perhaps even make a real run for the Super Bowl. Bringing in a player like Wilkins, who has proven he can be a top-tier defender when healthy, would energize the fanbase. It would also send a message to the rest of the league that Atlanta is serious about competing and not just settling for mediocrity. The energy in the city, the excitement around the team, and the renewed hope for a deep playoff run could all be amplified if the Falcons land Wilkins and integrate him into their defensive front. Now, shifting gears just a little bit, it's also important to consider the bigger NFL picture. Wilkins' situation is a reminder of how unpredictable player movements can be in free agency. Teams are always looking for that extra edge, that missing piece that can turn a good team into a great one. The Falcons, with their recent history of drafting well and their willingness to spend in free agency, could very well be that team to take a chance on Wilkins. And if they do, it might just pay dividends in the long run, especially if Wilkins can overcome his injury hurdles and return to the form he showed before his injury. In the end, it's all about that potential, what Wilkins can bring, what he's capable of when fully healthy, and how Atlanta's coaching staff can utilize his talents. And of course, it's about the bigger picture, how this move could tip the scales in the NFC South and give the Falcons that extra push toward their ultimate goal, a Super Bowl appearance. The offseason is still unfolding, and as always, the NFL never ceases to surprise us with its twists and turns. But one thing is clear, this story about Christian Wilkins, the Falcons, and the NFC South is far from over. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe Wilkins is the piece that could take the Falcons' defense to the next level? Are you excited about the possibility of seeing him in that red and black jersey? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks for being here, and as always, keep the passion alive, Falcons fans.